Hello, welcome to Comedy Intercourse, Series 4, Episode...
Uno!
Woo! Everyone applaud. Now. Do it now. 4 series, who'd have thought it?
Hey, Rich.
Certainly not me.
If we don't introduce the guests, maybe people will think we have 8 arms between the two of us.
Yeah, they might, but just,
Together
for the sake of the show, let's
Spider-Man.
introduce the guests, though. Let's still do that. Okay, so my name is Richard Ross, and opposite me is my co-host. What's your name?
It's Chris. It's Chris Donkin.
I forget from time to time. And here are our special guests. Actually, we normally do a thing on the show where we sort of let the guests fight it out to see who'll be the special guest and who'll just be guest. So just opposite me is Secretary of the Comedy Society and comedy aficionado, Bryony Jameson. Woo!
Yeah!
And diagonally from me is comedian and misanthrope, Jacob Rawcliffe.
Hey there!
Woo!
So, what are your aims for the show today? What are you looking to get out of this?
I want a lot of PR. I am using this mainly for networking.
Who are you hoping to meet when you came on the show, Jacob?
Any number of high-ranking radio officials,
People-
television executives, top comedians.
So people more influential than us.
Yeah, I do feel slightly misled. It's called. I'm not gonna. There's nothing. I'm happy to just be a guest.
Okay, that's fine. Well, we're kind of important around here, but fair enough if you feel that way. Bryony, thoughts, dreams, aspirations for the show?
I'm excited to see just like battle of perspectives on various shows.
A battle of perspectives. Wow, I think we're promising slightly more than we can actually feasibly deliver. But no, that sounds good. I'll stick with that.
I'm willing to battle any perspective. I don't feel very well, and therefore I feel combative.
Well, let battle commence. Actually, before we start the show, I've got to go through a few things. The format of the show is basically the same as it ever was. We review some TV, some radio, some film and stuff on the internet, and then we have a section at the end where we review stuff that's live in Leeds. We play some music at half-time just to break things up a little bit, courtesy of The Wake, favourite, but sort of up-and-coming favourite band of mine.
Oh.
They're not up-and-coming, they were big in the 80s, they're just up-and-coming in my particular sort of estimations.
That's not how that phrase works.
Yes, it is. And we've also got a very, very special announcement. From next week, we'll have a series of comedy interviews with performers at House of Fun of Leeds. So
we didn't mean to have these, but I misspelled the name of the show once.
Yes.
Comedy interviews, and we're contractually
orchestrated lovingly by our very good friend Bryony. So we're really looking forward to that. Next week we should be, fingers crossed, interviewing Alan Cochrane.
With our mouths.
Yes, with our mouths, primarily, yes. We're really, really excited about that, and that should be happening every week, for the rest of the series, hopefully, so, yeah, very exciting. So, right, should we start with some television, then?
Yes.
Why ever not?
The TV bumper is approaching.
It's time for TV, I guess.
Still,
They never get old, do they? I just love the production. I just love it all, really. It's just great. It's got a really warm radio feel, doesn't it?
I feel they never get old because they were ancient and possibly not funny when I first played them.
Possibly, yes.
There's no value to depreciate over time. They just stay the same.
Well, I just like it anyway. Okay, so television. I would like to start with a brief discussion of the recent BBC sitcom House of Fools.
Oh.
Vic Reeves and Bob Mortimer, of course, returning with their second sitcom and I think 5th or 6th TV series that they've had commissioned, maybe even 7th, actually. There's quite a few different ones, none of them long-running. So we've got this on BBC. It still hasn't finished running, I think. We're up to about episode 5, are we now?
Yeah.
Yeah. It stars Vic Reeves, Bob Mortimer. It's actually, the cast is actually very, very
Really,
impressive.
really good.
Heavyweight. We've got Vic Reeves, Bob Mortimer,
Matt Berry.
Matt Berry
Berry.
as their friend
As
Beef.
Matt Berry. I mean, Beef. Matt Beef. Beef.
And we've got
Simonson?
Daniel Simonson as Bob's son, who stays in the house with him. Renton Skinner as, is it Vic's brother?
Yeah, Vic's brother Bosch.
Bosch. Recently released from prison, and we have Morgana Robinson as their sort of next door neighbour, who's sort of like a seductress kind of thing. So yeah, really, really heavy, sort of really, really impressive cast, and but then. Okay, so what do we think of the show overall?
House of Fools, more like producers were fools when they commissioned it. Oh,
Ooh, that's a bit scathing.
Do you not like it?
What? No, well, I do. I love Vic and Bob. I kind of feel that they're this magical group that keep on getting TV shows for some bizarre reason. But I don't think it needed all of the shows to make the joke. They could have done it with one big one and just pretended it was a sitcom. I think them actually redoing it time after time detracts a little bit.
I think Vic and Bob are brilliant. And I think if you're into that kind of thing, the shows that they've done in the past, I mean, they're just outstanding. I think the format of it's quite strange. I was really surprised that it's in front of a live studio audience.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. And if you've seen any Vic and Bob before, you probably know it's very, very fast paced. It's very kind of silly and all over the place. And with the sitcom format, especially being in front of an audience, I feel like it takes something away from the pace of the show.
Definitely,
surely live shows should be the home ground, though, because that's how they started out with the...
Well, that's the thing. But like, if you take something like Bang Bang or Smell Of, they're in front of live studio audiences as well, and Big Night Out. But because that wasn't a sitcom, because it was just them with a series of sketches, them kind of just being silly at a desk in between. It kind of worked better because there was no plot to follow. Whereas with House of Fools, there is a story in each episode.
I do kind of feel that obviously the story, it's never going to be the stuff that goes on in House of Fools. It's a sort of classic sitcom setup, so it's a multi-camera, very old style with proper sets and everything. And the episodes are never going to be driven by the story. They're always going to be driven by the sort of silly humour of Vic and Bob. The story's always going to be ancillary to the show. So I kind of felt that by choosing this particular genre, they kind of boxed themselves into a corner, and as you said, Jacob, they lost a bit of the momentum that makes them so good in previous ones. Like, they did their own sitcom, Catterick, which keep going on and on about, which came out in 2004, and that was an out-and-out single-camera sitcom set out in the open in a variety of locations. They weren't hemmed in any way whatsoever, and I thought it was brilliant. I mean, it didn't get great reviews and it wasn't that popular, but I think it was classic. It was still classic Vic and Bob, whereas this just didn't feel the same way, and I think that was down to the choice of genre.
I've kind of noticed a couple of times that with like their trademark slapsticky stuff, it seems like it just takes too long to happen. I can't remember any. There was an incident in one of the episodes that really, I thought, exemplified that, but I can't remember what it was. I think it was one where like Vic was being pushed, like they had to fling someone through a gap in the wall.
Oh, yeah.
And it just didn't look right. I mean, obviously that's not going to happen anyway, and that's the whole point of their stuff. But it didn't feel even remotely like it was something that should or could have happened.
Part of that was because they had to use other camera shots as well to get in on Bob, sort of trying to push Vic through. So it broke its own style as well, which I think is a shame.
No, I think so,
yeah. I also think they should have shown the audience a bit more as well, just because if it is live, they need to make a use of it.
That would have been interesting.
Because at the end of the show, it pulls back and you see the audience, they're all clapping and stuff, which is quite nice. I'd have quite liked that sort of dollhouse thing, feel to it.
Yeah, definitely. Bryony?
I really like it. I think it's an excellent programme, but it's very hit and miss. Like, there's some very, like, odd...
choices?
Odd bits in it, but... Sorry.
Sorry, I'm just moving the mic. Sorry, continue.
There's, like, completely weird bits that are just very Vic and Bob, but it's all very innocent with having it in front of an audience.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of innuendo and a lot of quite crude jokes as well, which I kind of think don't always work. And I think it detracts from the humour.
Not enough.
But I really like how innocent it is with all the flinging each other around, and last week's with a little weird rat thing that stole his toupee, which was... I loved that. But
I love the character of Bob's toupee, actually. That is
It is a lot more kind of fun and carefree than a lot of other sitcoms, which can run the risk of taking themselves a little too seriously. So I suppose we can appreciate it definitely for that.
Yeah. It's the first Vic and Bob thing I've seen. It's had a very, very definite hierarchy. in terms of like their status as before. Like Vic is played as just a kind of a simpleton,
Yeah.
and Bob is very kind of definitely the straight man.
Yeah.
Which that's been in their shows to an extent in the past, but not to the extent.
Not to the
that it
same
is
extent.
in House of Fools.
Definitely, yeah.
And I don't really like it as much.
Again, yeah, it's a case of being hemmed in by the genre, and
Yeah.
they've always got to have a purpose for what they get up to, and they've always got to have, like, you know, the episode's got to move along in a certain way within half an hour. And I do feel like, yeah, that they're ultimately restricted, and their anarchic kind of humour tends to either feel crowbarred in or it falls flat.
Yeah.
It's just not.
I mean, it's
doesn't
still,
match.
it's still enjoyable to watch, but
Definitely, yeah.
yeah.
And it's got some fantastic lines and some at moments you do think, yeah, this is sort of classic Vic and Bob. There's certain things they get up to. Like, I really liked the idea that every time they come on the show, when a character enters the room for a first time in an episode, they'll sing a song,
Yeah.
just about anything,
Yeah.
like Vic's medieval gauntlet, or painting the house, or just anything. And that was like a really nice touch.
And it's kind of retained the thing that they've always been really, really good at doing incredibly silly, irreverent songs.
oh yeah,
And it's
yeah.
really nice that they have been able to retain that aspect of it.
Yeah,
'Cause,
yeah.
I mean, they're still absolutely wonderful.
Oh yeah, no
Well,
question.
I think a lot of the joy of them is that they can cross these genres, and you know they had the panel show, which wasn't a panel show; it was essentially a series of terrifying events for celebrities
Happening to bewildered
attention.
people.
Yeah, and then the songs as well, and the whole idea of light entertainment. Vic Reeves is the
The Northeast
Northeast
Top
Top
Light,
Light Entertainer.
Yeah.
indeed, yeah.
and so that sort of lovely conglomeration is something that I think they should revel in a bit more.
Definitely. So I remember you saying, actually, Bryony, that you ultimately, you know, despite the show's sort of advantages and disadvantages, you really appreciated the fact that they were just trying a different genre again.
It's very innovative. It's nice to have something different on TV.
It is a very
Um,
strange spin on a very old
Yeah.
Yeah.
genre, yeah.
It's nice to see something different rather than... Because as much as I love Vic and Bob, I got bored of Shooting Stars. By the last series, it was just sort of the same sort of thing, like another random bit. I loved it, and then the last series just had... It was a bit more like hit and miss kind of...
Oh,
Just
yeah.
a bit
Not
formulaic.
as,
Yeah.
it got a bit too samey. They used to just have Angelos Epithemiou, they just laugh at him, laugh at Ulrika,
Yeah.
say a few random words jumbled together.
Do you think
and
it's?
then
Do you think it's?
nice to see him do something different?
Do you think it's the case that maybe, to some extent, maybe their ideas aren't quite as sharp as they used to be? Like, for example, compare it to the stuff that they did in the 1990s. Do you think it's just the case that, you know,
I'm not-
getting a bit older now?
Counterpoint Afternoon Delight.
I'm not too sure. I think it
Interesting.
just shows comedy developing as well.
Mm.
It's just growing because that's comparing it to what they did in the 90s. It's a completely different audiences of it nowadays.
Yeah.
So they're just trying to reach and see kind of where the popularity is and where the sort of less sort of thing
I
is.
also kind of think that the stuff they did in the 90s, the sketch orientated shows, there's a lot more scope, and Catterick as well, there's a lot more scope for kind of really, really surreal stuff in those formats. And I think that when you have a single camera sitcom with you know, all of the you know, the tropes it has, it's quite hard to also incorporate the level of kind of silliness and surrealism that they make use of.
Yeah. Oh, no, I definitely go along with that. But
I wonder if the sort of idea of catch-up TV as well, now that Vic and Bob don't really inhabit a series of the schedule, right? They don't inhabit a small area of time. There isn't that sort of joy that, oh, look what the TV people are giving to Vic and Bob. Look, all these idiots are using, you know, TV time, which could be put on other stuff to have fun. Maybe that sort of freedom from, again, the sort of tropes of TV isn't as liberating now that we can pick and choose to such an extent.
yeah, I think I agree with that. I mean, like, because when Big Night Out came out, they got a lot of like complaints and stuff, famously from Matt Lucas, before he got involved with them, and like, so I guess it seems a little less out there comparatively, because yeah, it's not like back then when they were having shows commissioned, you couldn't sort of go back and see them as easily. You'd have to tape them or something. But now it's, like you say, yeah, it's a very much a pick and choose kind of atmosphere. So yeah, I think so. But overall, like, I was still on balance happy with what they came out with. So, like I say, some of the moments were really sort of very classic Vic and Bob, and I thought Matt Berry was great in it. I mean, he is playing his sort of Matt Berry
Yeah.
character. Yeah,
I'm going to be really sad when he gets old
I know.
as a
Yeah,
character. But for the moment, we're cool.
yeah, it's great.
We're sat at the top of the building. We're all a bunch of bankers. We're just popping the champagne, going, "This is great." I mean, it's going to go downhill eventually, but
Yeah,
for the
let's just-
moment,
Let's enjoy the roller coaster while we can and not think of the consequences. Okay, so are we all ready to move on then?
Yeah.
Okay, so next I think I'd like to discuss Charlie Brooker's Weekly Wipe, actually. So this is would this be Charlie Brooker's third, like, weekly series that he's had? Because he had How TV Ruined Your Life, and that had 2
Yeah.
seasons, did it not?
He's done like yearly wipes.
Yeah, he
And
has
then
those
did
each
news
year.
wipe.
this is his
was
second
like-
weekly wipe.
And then he's just
Yeah.
started doing
Yeah.
wipe kind
So
of thing.
so it's basically relying on, you know, the most recent news as opposed to a satire on just news in general. Or he also did Games Wipe, obviously specifically about games. But this is, and then he had his How Television Ruined Your Life, but that was also a compilation of things throughout the years.
That was more of a documentary than anything else, I think.
Okay, I mean, I didn't actually watch that many episodes of it, but it was pretty similar. You could say it was pretty similar to
It
his
was
other stuff.
in a lot of sense, it was just a history of television.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still very good, but I really like Weekly Wipe. I think I said this the other day. I think it's the closest TV show this country has to the Daily Show. In the, I mean, obviously it's not daily, but it's a satire of
Everything.
the week's. It's a literally everything of the week's events, done kind of remorselessly, kind of, in the sense it doesn't pick and choose targets. There's no political agenda there.
Yeah.
It's taking a ridiculous situation, whatever it might be, satirising that, and then moving on to something else with added contributors and different segments. The only aspect of it I don't think fits in is the moments of wonder, which I love.
Yeah.
I think they're really, really funny, but in the format of the show, as a weekly current affairs satire show, having a documentary feature about something that is completely irrelevant to the rest of the program, I don't think it fits in.
I think I'm tempted to agree, actually, and I personally didn't feel that, because it's based, for the Moments of Wonder segment, it's hosted by one of the fake talking heads that they have on the show, Philomena Kunk, and the other one is Barry expletive deleted Peas. And they chose Philomena Kunk to do it, and I didn't quite feel that her sort of persona or character had enough depth to sort of carry an extended segment, to be honest. I found the jokes a little flat, but
I disagree. I think she's become a bit
That's fine.
of a, like...
yeah.
I think she's become quite a character that people really look forward to seeing. Like, people really rated her, like, talking head every time she were on. And going back to what you said, Jacob, about it doesn't really fit in, I agree, it doesn't really fit in with the satire, but it also, where else in the sort of TV sort of element, apart from something like Live at the Electric, could she fit on? And if she's a popular character...
Well, yeah, I suppose.
If she's a popular character in
Yeah.
Charlie Brooker's stuff.
Everyone
it
does
kind
seem
of
to really
works
enjoy
have
her.
it, yeah.
Definitely.
It does kind of seem a bit weird that the thing I really likes about Philomena Kunk, it's a brilliant character.
Just the name.
The name's fantastic.
Communicates everything.
And her kind of, the way she talks and her mannerisms, I think they're wonderful. But she was at her best, I think, as just a talking head that was meant to represent just a member of the public.
It is.
And now she is a documentary presenter.
Yeah, I think the fact it's on every week, it's as well is a bit of a issue, because you're kind of used to her mannerisms now. I've got a bit.
That's true.
Whereas the first 2 episodes, I found it absolutely hilarious, but now it's gone a bit old, and it's not as fresh as it was when it first started.
It's a little redundant, I think, in where they already have sections where it is just the 2 talking heads, Barry Peas and Philomena Kunk.
Nice.
And it does feel a little redundant. Also, I think you're right that it needs to be in shorter bits, because over time you do get a bit used to it, and it's like, oh, it needs the sort of the back and forth. It needs to be sort of poppy.
I think part of the problem as well was, for me personally, was that they're basically, when you watch the yearly wipe, you're looking at a year's worth of material that they have to pick from, so it's naturally going to be a stronger show than the weekly wipes, which I think is a fair conclusion.
Yeah.
I'd say they were better than the weekly show, because you're relying on whatever that particular week is thrown at you, and often that's going to be, more kind or less kind.
Yeah.
It's much more variable than, doing Games Wipe, which is about the history of video games, or the how TV ruined your life, the history of TV, yearly wipe, 365 days of news to choose from.
The Justin Bieber segment and indeed the Borders opening segment, I think, were particular high points.
Mm.
And I think as a counterpoint that you wouldn't have got them in the yearly wipe. Maybe you'd have got the Borders opening bit.
Yeah.
But I don't think. I like that some of these weirder news reports, like the fact that everyone's just taking videos of the weather and doesn't seem to care about it, and all the jokes about having like the Game of Thrones music in the background. It's a nice. I like the wipe brand a lot.
Yeah.
I like the sort of type of voiceover, and then the just constant barrage of jokes and puns about it as well.
I'd also add that because I studied broadcast journalism, but we watch more of Charlie Brooker's weekly wipe and yearly wipe, and we watch more Charlie Brooker in our lectures than we do the real news, because it's so accurate.
Yeah.
He just caricatures.
Yeah,
sort of
it's like what I was
brilliant.
saying about the Daily Show. There's a stat that says more people get their news from the Daily Show, a satire show, than they do from CNN.
Yeah.
And I think it's becoming this. It is the most reliable and balanced way to find out about a lot of things. And it is the best satire, current affairs satire on TV at the moment, regardless of kind of the weaknesses or strength of some of the aspects. When it's Charlie Brooker taking an issue or a story and talking about it, there's nothing else on TV that does it in the same way or half as well.
So maybe regardless, it's simply like a fairly like useful and important thing to have on anyway, to have this sort of satirical presence, because stuff like Have I Got News for You and Mock the Week and other shows like that, they don't really... it's not really satire on the same level, is it?
Mock the Week is not a satire
and you
program.
I guess you couldn't even call it satire now. It's so diluted. So maybe it's just a necessary kind of presence. But overall, I still think it's a great show. I really do.
I think that we need a place for this, and I think we need more choice in it as well, because the Daily Show isn't the only example in America.
Mm-hmm.
And really, we have like one ascendant satire show at a time.
Oh,
Have I Got News for You was like there for a long time, and then Mock the Week was sort of the go-to place.
And there's things like 10 o'clock live as well. That is excellent, with Charlie Brooker's weekly rant, which was always
that was nice.
It was basically the same thing
David
as well.
Mitchell sort of discussion and debate with the likes of Anthony Royal Thompson, like 2 days after he got arrested for shoplifting, and they had really excellent. It was just such a good program. I hope they should bring it back. What's going on?
Yeah, no, it was good actually. I guess we don't really have enough of it, to be honest. But I guess it comes in waves. I want to say there were probably more shows, in previous years to do with satire than we have now. So I guess it's just sort of maybe a phase thing. Yeah.
Another thing as well is that functions better in America is that America likes their leaders. We have a constant tradition of just kind of disliking ours.
Yeah, I guess so.
Picking at them doesn't seem as kind of big to us, because that's our default state. We don't go, oh yeah, it's great, I support them. How many people have stickers supporting a leader in Britain? Basically none.
That's a good point.
So I think that our country as well needs... It's got a different sort of zeitgeist, and it needs a different sort of show.
Yeah, I think I go along with that.
It needs someone to take the fat cats down. Someone to fight the power on TV every week. Yeah!
That as well.
Literally fight the power, like gladiators did.
Just walk up and fight one of them.
I was really hoping some more people would go along with my kind of firebrand radicalism there.
Well, that's what we get you on for, so we're not accountable, Jacob.
Impassioned fury.
I have actually called the thought police on you.
They'll be on their way shortly.
They're coming in the thought wagon.
I feel validated.
Also, I suppose another good point about Charlie Brooker is, again, aside from the sort of really good talking heads that they have a section with Limmy. They often get very good interviews on his shows. For example, they were interviewing Bob Mortimer about the horror genre, which was actually very, very interesting. They got various celebrities on previous shows to talk about just sort of topics they liked on television. For example, like in-house music that the BBC have produced, or certain sitcoms that people enjoy, and Limmy's sections on the show I've always really liked. Doug Stanhope as well, which is a really nice addition.
He is the perfect person to be on that show, I think, as like a stand-up contributor.
Yeah, so you get a bit of American-style satire mixed with the British, and I really like Limmy's sections as well, because they really break it up nicely. It's just sort of his own thing, but Limmy is also technically an observational comedian in ways, or comic actor, perhaps.
I always like how Limmy is so consistent with his his shirt and his Twitter, his Vines, his Facebook. Everything is. Me and my sister were discussing yesterday how ridiculous it is that he's always wearing the same T-shirt in everything he does, in every Vine, every thing. I just think he's just. He's
amazingly prolific, actually, in producing
excellent.
Limmy's show. Everything he does produces Limmy's show.
Yeah,
I think
it's very
rarely does anything not. Very rarely does he do anything that you wouldn't feel would fit in.
Yeah, no, it's nice. We're actually going to talk about his Vine specifically in the internet section, so very exciting. Got that to look forward to. But
there's a scowl over there from.
No, Jacob just wasn't paying attention. It's nothing like that. It's just not focused.
I'm just fascinated by the studio.
The brand new studio.
It's a lovely layout.
It is.
What we've done is Jacob was actually created today in the clone vats, and we brought him in here. He's never seen a wall before, or a ceiling, or a window, and it's magical.
I'm like a radio Bambi.
Slipping all over the airways while the other cartoon animals laugh at you.
Probably my size gives it away a bit, but you know. Like a remarkably sort of consistent show and a really nice sort of cast of people involved. So yeah, I think we can all sort of say, on balance, Charlie Brooker's Weekly Wipe is it's pretty good actually. There's a spate of pretty good BBC shows on at the moment, to be honest, that we can be
pretty good
appreciative of, because
I think is the continuing theme.
Well, because we had, I feel that last season and the season before that, we had a lot less stuff from the BBC to sort of get excited about. Really, I think that's fair.
They're having a really good moment at the moment at the BBC. Like, Inside Number 9 started the other day, and which is pretty exciting.
Very.
There's also Uncle, and there's controversial as this is going to sound. It's more like they're bringing back like new series, old series is like outnumbered again. So it means there's more comedy on the airwaves rather than just things about the Musketeers. And I hate things like that.
What was that about the Musketeers?
It's all just really exciting drama.
But right, okay.
Obviously, the two
gripping
period
don't
pieces. Work on radio.
I'll probably give that a miss. I don't really want to watch the Musketeers.
I got halfway through. And failed.
I'll watch Albert the Fifth Musketeer, but I will not watch the original.
It was it's an interesting.
Albert the Fifth Musketeer. Yeah,
it's an interesting choice for them to do it as well, because they don't have the crazy big budget, but they don't do like sort of TV level stuff. You kind of feel with Musketeers they really wanted sort of like buckles to be swashed really firmly, right? And
how do you swash a buckle? How does that work?
Well, like this.
Vigorously.
Like what? No, we'll sort this out on the radio now. I will show you how to swash a buckle. If anyone wants to know, will listen to this and have to imagine what I'm doing.
Okay, how about...
That's absolutely appalling.
Okay, stop doing that, please.
That's the worst radio that's ever been broadcast.
There you go.
Chris, should we have a little break?
Yeah.
And you can swash as many buckles as you like within that time.
Can I?
Just let's not trouble the listeners with that.
Oh, right.
Yeah, come on. Okay, so this is Sail Through by The Wake.
And we return.
That was The Wake with Sail Through. Some lovely synth there.
Like the waves of the sea.
Yeah, no, I do.
I mean, I was looking at you going, are you really going to do some music reviews here? What do you think we're here for?
No, I just like the
What's in the title?
synth, I don't know.
It's not called music intercourse. God,
Hey, don't tell me how to do my own show, Rawcliffe.
you invited me on.
That's true.
You know what I'm like.
That's true, but I didn't expect you to be this belligerent, to be quite honest. Okay. So, actually, before we move on to the next section, I'd one more TV thing. Just a sort of quick kind of watch this now sort of thing. We've all seen a bit of this. 15 Stories High, Sean Locke's sitcom.
It's from a few years ago. It was on BBC Three when BBC Three made genuinely good cutting edge comedy. And
Some Sex and Suspicious Parents.
I remember no such a time.
Brilliant. Come on.
15 Stories High, really, it's absolutely exquisite.
Phenomenal.
It's dark, it's clever, it's phenomenally well shot.
Yeah.
It's quite surreal. It's just the story of a man played by Sean Locke in a London, I think a council flat.
Yeah.
And his housemate who moves in from the north of England called Errol.
Yeah.
And they're frankly bizarre adventures. I mean, Sean Locke's character is a very misanthropic, nasty, angry.
It's fairly similar to his
man.
kind of stand-up persona that he inhabits. Sort of, he plays
Yeah, very
Vince,
similar.
a swimming pool attendant, and it's a really nice contrast because it's some of the subject matter is like really mundane because it's just sort of them chilling in the flat or like going to see their friends who also live in the building or at the swimming pool or just at a restaurant or something. But then it has these really surreal moments as well, like when Sean Locke's spying on the other tower where someone's got a horse in their apartment and stuff like that.
Well,
So
after he's become very giddy after drinking a budget brand of Eastern European energy drink.
yeah, it's that Blue Rat.
Blue Rat. And there's really, really lovely little features. It will cut away halfway through the episode, well, not halfway through the episode, but at random intervals in the episode, it will cut away to the interior of another flat, and you'll just see what's going on in that flat, and it's incongruous. It very rarely makes any sense.
Yeah.
But some of the characters that are featured in those are they're so wonderful and so nuanced, and it's such a lovely insight into. I mean, I don't know if it's accurate or not. I assume it isn't. It's quite a silly show.
I think there's a little bit of kind of like attempt to do kind of slice of British life sort of thing.
I think definitely,
with the shots, like, so it's kind of half sketch, half sitcom, really, because you get these lovely cutaways, and then you get the great dialogue between Vince and Errol, and the whole thing's just brilliant.
Yeah, if you get a chance, I think it's on YouTube, but watch it if you can, because it really is absolutely brilliant.
So this isn't on at the moment. This isn't.
No, it
came
was
out 2004.
Yeah, 2004. It's just like
Second
we've only just discovered it and feel like everyone needs to see it.
Yeah, it's just fantastic. I mean, I think it got really good reviews in The Guardian and a few other papers. Judging from that's like reviews on the back and stuff I've seen on the internet, and but no, it just doesn't seem to be talked about all that much. But it's just fantastic.
It seems to have been forgotten a bit, but yeah, really, really good.
Definitely worth it.
It's good to know someone reads the back of DVD boxes.
I just love it. I just love reading those boxes. I actually like it more than the content that I pay good money for.
Well, that's what it seems like.
Yeah.
Richard Ross, by the way, the reference there is that simply he likes telling me what's on the back of DVD boxes.
Probably do that more than I tell you about actual films.
Yeah.
Just like
sometimes you just describe the barcode.
it's really good.
Black, flow white. Oh,
I'm not that silly, Chris. Okay, so next section is the internet section. So let's do the bumper.
Bum, bum, bum.
My liege, it appears to be time for the internet section. Well, go on then. Do it.
You see, I thought about just sort of asking you to cut that short and we could just get on with the show, but just let it run.
Did feel a bit long.
But it
was lovely. It was really wonderful.
I was waiting for the signal, the cut signal.
This is your new microphone as well, so
yeah,
it's
high
just
quality.
Beautiful.
I took it to a battle. It was the the Battle of Malundum, and it was utterly unpronounceable. the battle, and that's why no one has ever talked about it before.
Really difficult to get your hands on medieval battles these days as well.
Yeah.
Like a proper one, not a reenactment, like a real one.
Well, it was meant to be a reenactment.
But then it got out of hand, didn't it?
Yeah, they didn't know about foam, so they just used real weapons. It was awful.
I've never seen a medieval battle reenactment that has used foam. I think it detracts from the atmosphere quite a bit if everyone's just wearing huge foam fingers and hitting each other with like the shields you get at Legoland.
It's like some mad sort of like basketball or baseball game that's just got really, really out of hand and they're just killing each other with foam hands. I'm number one. So first thing on the internet section I want to talk about is Hug Me, I'm Scared, which we've all seen, luckily, and in the nick of time. And it's a series of... It's a parody of children's TV shows hosted by these 4 puppets from the company... What's the name of the...
This Is It.
This Is It is the company name. And it's strictly on the internet, is that right?
Yeah. It seems to function mainly as a promotional thing. The first one seemed to be quite promotional, and then the rest of it sort of came from its massive popularity.
But it's like, they've got millions and millions of views now. It's really, really like... The parody's just really, really sharp and excellent. It's lovingly crafted. The way it looks is amazing.
Primary
for stuff they put on the internet. Yeah, the felt they use for the puppets and the contrast between puppetry, animation, and then real live action.
Matter.
Yeah, real live action, like weird.
It looked like Rainbow, but evil.
Yeah, that's a really good explanation.
And also,
evil rainbow,
and very, very funny.
Yeah, they're brilliant. So the episode that we've all seen is called Time, which is basically a clock jumps off the wall and sings a song to all of the puppets about what time is.
But because time's quite a scary thing, the whole thing goes a bit wrong.
It gets really dark and scary, and the puppets start aging rapidly, and the sort of like the puppet felt starts melting away, and you can see the bones and the blood underneath their skin.
My favourite line is, time got fast when got old like history. An old man died, but look, a computer. Come on, gang, it's the future. It's just a lovely sort of mixture of utter sort of contempt for life, and then this weird obsession with whatever the topic is.
Yeah,
I like the kind of the way that it did very nicely mock the way children's television has that way of taking a subject that's horrific and then just going, that was bad, but on to something lovely. Lovely.
It looks absolutely fantastic. It's very, very funny. So, and there's another one called Get Creative, which is this funny sort of little. It's kind of a rap song in a way.
It's kind of a rap song.
It's told in a sort of.
They're called raps.
Yeah, they are indeed. Yeah, there are some people. Some people like to refer to them as raps. I prefer rap songs. No, but it is. Would you not say it's in a kind of rap style?
It's half sung, half said.
Yeah,
which is also a very good parody of the sort of educational songs that they put
little
on.
Nursery rhymes that they put on, and it's basically this notepad teaches the puppets how to get creative. And they start the episode ends with them messing around with actual live organs and rolling them in glitter and making like lovely pictures with them and stuff.
And then the notepad agrees that they should never be creative again and dies.
Yeah,
just falls over.
It's this incredible. Yeah, it's this really nice contrast between the way the puppets look and then the things that they get them to do. It's just so it's just so wrong.
Yeah,
but that's brilliant.
When I watched it for the first time, I really wasn't prepared for how nasty it was going to turn. Because it looks absolutely beautiful. It looks like every puppet TV show set you could ever want to have. It's lovingly crafted. There's bright colours.
The voices are silly.
The voices are perfect. The characters themselves look like puppet TV show characters, and then it's awful. And so many dreadful things happen to them in such a short space of time, and it's absolutely hilarious.
Apparently, sorry.
There's just so much effort put into it as well. It's not just like any other viral animated thing where it's got animation, it's got actual puppetry, it's got an amazing song. Like, it's just
genuinely
so much
catchy.
effort to it. It's like you actually appreciate watching it rather than just some idiots just jumping off bins and things.
What are these videos you've been watching? People jumping off bins.
Bin jumpers
YouTube,
1, 2,
innit?
This is the new internet sensation, just people jumping off
Have you
some
not seen
bins.
Bin Jumper 3?
No, I haven't seen
They
Bin
jump
Jumper
off
3.
a bin that's
That's-
twice the size of the Titanic. It's really scary.
That is a massive bin.
Who's that for? Is it just for one
Titanic.
country?
It's for
It's where
America.
They built it when...
Oh.
You know how they were dredging up the Titanic? You know how they were going to bring it up? They needed somewhere to put it, and that's what the bin's for.
So they thought instead of excavating it and investigating it for its like historical significance, just put
put
it in the bin. Brilliant.
Why else would you have a bin twice the size
This is
of the
just
Titanic?
some old stupid shit. We don't need this for nothing. Throw it in the bin. Bin it. Useless. Can't even sail it. Okay, so
According to my sisters, they get their teachers to play these, and especially the Get Creative one.
they play them in schools.
Yeah, because
Oh
it's
Jesus.
quite innocuous, and then various teachers have done various things. One of which just turned it off instantly when the flesh came out,
Oh no.
and sent the person who put it on to detention. Another one just watched it in silence.
Silently reflecting on what life really is.
Yeah,
The nature of time. Okay, so yeah, we're all ready to sort of move on, discuss something else. Okay, so I think what we'll discuss next is Limmy's Vines. So we've been watching a few of these. Guys, are you familiar at all? Limmy's Vines?
Crazy.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Jacob?
I've literally never seen one.
Oh well, have you have seen Limmy's show, have you not?
Yeah,
Okay, well,
and I follow Limmy on Twitter, and I love him, but I've
you
been
will
completely.
not press that small
I've been
circle.
completely unable to get into Vine. I
Oh,
seem to remember
fair
the
enough.
last time I was on here, I
Oh,
had a
yeah.
big rant about
Yeah,
Vine.
you had
I vined it.
your sort of 10. You had like a
Yeah,
10
Chris.
minute 10-minute diatribe
Which
on
Chris vined and only captured 6 seconds of it because Vine is stupid.
We could have had all 10 minutes on YouTube,
I mean,
but
it was
no.
like-
I'm getting my vine up because he's going to continue the thing now.
The thing about Limmy's Vines is they aren't like 7 seconds long. They have many vines put into one, and it's just a big story. Which
Then just make
Isn't
a
it
video.
But the way
they're
the
not
way the
really-
editing works
but the
makes it
editing
funnier.
Just kind of,
Yeah.
because it's so short.
I'm gonna retire myself from this discussion because I have absolutely nothing valid to say.
Well, pay attention and you might learn something,
Well,
Rawcliffe,
okay.
right?
Well, don't worry because he's put them on YouTube as well. If you want.
Oh,
to
okay, I can deal with
That's
that.
what I've seen.
I'll do
the,
that.
I like the half-hour compilations he does of like hundreds of them.
Yeah,
He does them all at once. That's the only way I've seen them.
Okay.
So because of the nature of the Vine, you get these really kind of snappy, kind of hard cuts between Limmy doing different characters, and it
Yeah.
creates a sort of mini episode. And it's this same kind of brand of really weird and often surreal yet observational stuff, just picking up on these little bits and pieces of modern life that really annoy him or sort of irk him in some way. And the ones we watched were The Plasterer.
Yeah.
Is a really good one, which is the sort of those weird kind of very
Non-jokes that people tell.
non-jokes that you just sort of say to someone because they have to sort of come in and help you out to do something, and you just you want to be friendly, and you just sort of make these little kind of weird jokes with each other.
I think it'd be called patter. I think.
Yeah. Just small talk, and
Yeah.
it's just Limmy doing these over and over again, and then laughing hysterically when he says them.
And each laugh gets more and more deranged as you watch it. Like the first one is fine, and then by the fifth, you're going, "He's wrong. He's very wrong."
Another one was a really good one, which I like, is Cousin Peter, which involves his son. I think it's his son.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Or a child he's kidnapped.
Yeah,
One of the two.
well. So
Or a very well trained monkey.
either or, we'll never know. So yeah, it's his Cousin Peter one. So it's him doing a really weird face, staring at his son, and just saying over and over and over again, "Your Cousin Peter's coming over later, and I tell you now, I want no bother." Just over and over again. His son just is
Screams
laughing
at
in
him.
his face.
Just
Yeah.
screams at him.
It's
Cousin
hilarious.
Peter.
There's that another one about annoying accents. Like there's that.
Oh,
Have you seen that one?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
the guy with the. It's Limmy playing two characters, one a housemate and the other one a man with an annoying accent, who's just by talking to him is really annoying the housemate. And he just gets more and more abusive towards the guy who can't help but the way he talks. You know, it's just they're really really nice.
it's just very Limmy.
Yeah.
as odd as this show is, I've been watching all of the. I'm getting my way through all the series, and it's just epic. It's originally like the first few episodes of series 1 were a bit, what on earth is this? But now I just absolutely love it. It's just like, so the Vines is just an extra. You can imagine it being part of the.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Like the real show. Oh, it's very Charlie Brooker, like his feature on. That Lemmy has on Charlie Brooker.
Oh yeah,
he
definitely.
He does live broadcasts every so often as well, which are really nice to just.
Oh, tell me about those. I haven't seen those actually.
He just goes on. Sometimes he just does nothing. Or just listens to music and just talks to people that are there. When Margaret Thatcher died, he took his top off and just raved for a while.
Jesus.
And I think he drank some milk as well in fury. So yeah, it's just He's a lovely sort of person to follow if you get his type of humour. I can imagine some people will just be like, nah, what's going on? It's just mad. But he's quite... His whole presence is brilliant. And also I read an article by him about why he supports Scottish independence despite the fact he works for the Scottish arm of the BBC. So he's essentially shooting himself in the foot with regards to future series of his show. But he said his argument was that everything's going to continue basically the same. Yeah, it's just going to be governmental, really, and then any other changes don't really matter.
I was going to say actually, yeah, I wouldn't see any. I would have just thought that BBC Scotland would have just continued anyway. I mean, you wouldn't see any reason for that to stop for any reason. So, it's he's got a great set of different sort of media that he. Goes in for, and they all seem to work really nicely. They're all very funny, and yeah, he's got a lot of really good stuff out at the moment.
I think the key to it is he's actually quite handsome, and then when he twists his face up, it's really scary.
You think that's his magic?
It's like Cage levels of scary. Just when it goes from just as incredibly expressive.
He is very elastic with his sort of facial movements.
He is a master of the selfie.
Oh yeah. The ones he puts on Twitter are excellent.
And the fact that he will often do just a constant stream of them for about an hour, just bizarre pictures of his face. Absolutely, they're brilliant.
Like there's one I remember where my brother actually introduced me to the Limmy's Twitter account, and there's a really good one where it's a picture of him in this sort of like really gruesome twisted face, and his face and teeth are covered in melted chocolate, and the caption is "Probably should go to the dentist now." And this is him in this like twisted position. They're absolutely brilliant. So yeah, I really like them. There's another one where he looks exhausted, and it's him in his room just looking absolutely shattered, and it says, "Just been chased around Glasgow the whole night." They're really nice. So next, if it's okay with you, Christopher, I wanted to see some Twitter extracts from Upworth It. Which is a really nice account, which we've been looking at a bit. Jacob, you're familiar with this as well?
It's kind of if everyone's familiar with the website Upworthy, which shares life-affirming events that will make you completely rethink the way you live your life. And they're all designed to go viral, and everyone to go, well, I mean, that was just terribly profound. And it all makes people feel good about themselves.
It exemplifies a type of internet usage and a type of viral thing that goes out. That's, Reddit gets into it as well. People really like it.
Yeah, and Upworth It is a Twitter account which just basically just sends out tweets which are mimicking the style of headline that these life-affirming stories will use. And it's very, very, very well observed indeed. It's really, really funny.
My favourite is, this is what you should expect if you expected the unexpected. Just ridiculous.
They had some brilliant ones we were reading earlier on. Any other ones? Or
he quit Harvard to backpack Europe. Now he's asking, why go to college when you can major in life?
They're really good. They remind me, I've said this to you before, but they remind me of the headlines from the Day Today and Brass Eye in their sort of just encapsulating so much silliness just in a single sentence. Or
Where now for man raised by puffins?
It's exactly that sort of Yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, it's,
Utter pompousness, I think, is the...
yeah, I suppose, yeah, the ultimate in mock seriousness. They're really nice.
It's the way Upworthy imposes itself on you with everything's capitalised. It's all you have to see this if you want to live a vaguely fulfilling existence. We are here to make your life better. Just nagging away constantly. And if you're on Facebook or Twitter at all, it's so hard to escape from any of these things that they're so insistent. And Upworth is a wonderful satire of that.
Excellent. So, should we move on to some live in leads?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, bumper number 3. Or 4. 3 or 4. It doesn't matter. 3.
Forgot about that.
Oh God. Oh jeez. Oh. It's time for leads.
Now, we've discussed this before, but you did actually run over a real eagle.
Yeah. It was
to make
a falcon.
It was a falcon.
It was a falcon,
As long as it was a bird of prey, I don't mind.
Yeah, it was very rare.
How unprofessional. Someone's ringing me.
And it's dead now. And what I'm going to attempt to do is cover up while Richard talks to the person that isn't ringing. This
It doesn't
never
matter. It's
happened.
no one important.
So, yeah, I've kept on repeating these. Should I make some new ones for the new series? If you can let us know in the chat box if you'd like to hear some more stupid sounds.
I
That'd be
personally
nice.
wouldn't mind.
I have no strong opinions either way.
Oh, well, guess
We've got
what?
you on here as a firebrand, Jacob.
Yeah, but there's some issues it's quite hard to get excited about.
Well, you know what? We won't be seeing you next week, so it doesn't even matter anyway. I don't
Not
know why
really,
you'd
no.
even try and weigh in on that, so just
Well, can
shut
you give us
up,
some
right?
contentious stuff about, what have you got?
What are you excited about?
I've
Who's
got,
lit a fire under your ass?
Well, I mean, I was quite excited about the fact I got a tub of strawberry cheesecake Häagen-Dazs at home, which I'm going to enjoy.
Strawberry
Perhaps a
cheesecake
glass of-
Häagen-Dazs is the opposite of a contentious issue.
I'm going to wear my dressing gown, have a glass of OJ, settle down and, play some Football Manager.
I have
Are you
no
real?
problem
Like
with
what?
that.
I am
Is that-
I am a parody of myself.
You've jumped the shark.
Yeah.
You've jumped the shark of your life.
Everything I do now has to be a wild exaggeration of something I do.
After roughly what season of your life did this really start, getting tiresome?
Season 14.
It's really just started
Yeah.
going downhill from there.
The writers just lost interest.
Okay, so, right, live in lead section just before we sign off. Got a few announcements. Pigeonhole, which is next Wednesday. That's a special for the LGBT History Month. So the headliner is Mae Martin.
It's excellent.
Yes,
Well said.
who I think we've all seen, have we not?
Yes, indeed.
Yes, that's going to be fantastic. So,
But she hasn't seen us.
no,
Like we're ninjas.
but that's okay because we're not famous, so that's understandable.
Doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully some songs in there as well because they're fantastic, especially the birthday song. That's my favourite. So yeah, we've got that on the Wednesday, and then the month after that, Pigeonhole will be
Phil Kay.
Phil Kay will be headlining. Who was a Perrier nominee? Was he not?
Yes, he
in
was.
the 90s,
Yeah.
I think, in the mid 90s.
Had his own TV show for a while. Very, 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 very good.
Nice. So we got that to look forward to as well.
They
We've got-
cloned Vernon from him.
They cloned.
Vernon Kay.
I don't think that's true. Somehow, I just don't think that's true.
Stop dispensing whimsy.
Over serious
We're trying
announcement.
to plug things here.
Oh.
Pigeonhole tickets are available on the Brudenell Social Club website. If you want to go and have a look on there for listings, they are £2.50 in advance or £3 on the door on the night.
In terms of value, it really doesn't get much better than that. I can tell you, it's just phenomenal. It's really, really worth your money. We will. The House of Fun will be.
Swan songing.
Yes, their
At the library.
last performances at the library. They'll be moving to the original Oak the week after. I think amongst other. Actually, no, I can't remember the headliners that they've got, but they often do secret gigs as well.
Yeah.
So who knows who'll be turning up? But they'll be going back to the original Oak. It's a really nice venue. So
I really recommend the secret gigs as well. They're great.
Plenty more great comedy from them. Yeah. So we got that to look forward to as well. We have a benefit happening here in Leeds with Hecklers Will Be Shot, which is a special comedy night for cancer research.
Yeah, I think so.
Which is happening on the 23rd.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, 23rd.
And we have a very special gig happening within the university with the Little Leeds Fringe, which is happening when, Bryony?
Monday the 17th of March.
Good.
Stage 1 in Stage at Leeds.
Yeah, which is a very, very nice venue.
Nice and exciting, huge venue, 180 seats. So
yes.
please come.
So the show will be Comedy Society versus the Leeds Tea Lights.
Yeah, and we'll win.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's just
maybe.
Well, yeah. I mean,
we're looking to pick up at least 1 point from the fixture.
I don't know if there'll be a point scoring system. I mean,
what?
It's not like, is it comedy tennis or do we like serve? I don't. That's just too complicated. It's going to be really, really good though, and there are tickets for that. Is it?
Yeah, available at Stage at Leeds box office, I think. But there'll be more publicity later on.
And price?
£6.50.
£6.50.
Or £5 if you're a performer at Little Leeds Fringe.
What value?
Well, that's fine. That's fine for us then. So yeah. So we've got that to look forward to as well.
Anything else?
I don't think so. I think that's everything from us. Thank you very much. If you've tuned in, if you haven't tuned in, I dislike you intensely. Thank you to our guests very much, Bryony Jameson and Jacob Rawcliffe. Little round of applause for them there.
If there are any executives from any kind of form of media listening in, my Twitter handle is @RawcliffeJacobs, and if you could please message me on
Not
that.
now, Jacob. Not now.
No,
you've had your chance.
I came on here for exposure, and I want that.
Okay, off he's
No,
going.
yeah,
Down goes the
yeah.
microphone.
Just cut his mic.
No.
Just cut it. I haven't got time for that. Ridiculous.
Goodbye.
Okay, yeah, that's all, folks. Goodbye. Thank you very much.
This